Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Chris Chan Quickie article, where today, ladies and gentlemen, sorry, difficulties with my chest again, stuff like that. Maybe this will be like, I don't know, maybe a good time to go to the doctor about it, but we'll wait and see. I'll wait when it becomes almost too late to do anything, and then I'll still say no. So, there you are, so you know I'm okay. So, we move forward with more people in Chris's life, but this time we're going to start taking a look at, well, the first real notable troll in Chris's arsenal. Now, you could immediately say Megan Schroeder, Michael Snyder, Adam Stackhouse in Chris's eyes probably counted, but not quite. Blanca Weiss, no, definitely takes the cake in that description. So how did this happen? Well, I'll tell you. Troll disclosure. This persona was created, appropriated, or otherwise used by trolls to manipulate Chris. She was played by multiple people. Though this identity is contrived, the Quickie may treat it as though it were a real identity because, to Chris, it was. It's also funnier that way. Blanca is real. I talked to her. Yeah, she called me. So, as for the jerk who posed with the Kawaii Kitsune name, if I knew who you were, I'd give you a kick in the balls. 13th of September 2008. Also, Chris, about a few weeks later, rest assured, she, Blanca, is not a troll, so nobody say otherwise. I have talked to her on webcam and video, audio, and have heard her voice over her microphone to my speakers and headphones. Blanca Weiss, aka Ami B-chan or Kawaii Kitsune 123, was the identity assumed by various trolls who posed as Chris's sweetheart in order to get one thing, the Sonichu medallion. The group pulling the strings was a trio of YouTube trolls, two of them, going by the handles Ricky Ricardo 123 and Nurse Iki-chan, talked to Chris via IM and telephone, respectively. The third, Icarus69, received a package containing the medallion as well as an enclosed love letter, and uploaded a video of himself cutting it up and putting it in a pickle jar before setting it on fire. Some argue that aside from the medallion destruction, the team behind the real Blanca, as opposed to Lord Silly Nipples, who impersonated her after the original group had created the identity, did nothing except keep Chris to themselves, telling Chris to not make videos, stopping him from releasing content, etc. Despite many people telling him Blanca was not real, and even after the medallion was destroyed on film, Chris still continued to believe she was real. He stated in the Christian Western Channel interview that the people responsible for destroying the medallion simply lived near Blanca and intercepted the mail. I don't really know what's motivating Chris to believe that, outside of the fact that, well, just to prove he's not wrong, but that's a bit of a stretch there, Chris. Since the destruction of the medallions, the three trolls have largely faded into obscurity. The name, Blanca Weiss, is just a feminine version of the Spanish word for white and the German word for white. Blanca Weiss is literally just white female. Chris's personal preference in sweethearts. Also, I know this is a bit of a strange thing to... I know it's... For someone who takes a lot of pride in the Spanish language, you would have thought Chris could have seen through at least why if white is even a common name in the Latin-speaking world, but what can you do? FCTC. The trio were good friends with several members of the Fried Chicken Trolling Crew, a now-defunct trolling group known for trolling various individuals and groups on YouTube. Some photos were shown to the FCTC, who later posted the images onto Encyclopedia Dramatica after posting the group's watermark onto them. There was internal bullshit with the Chris Chan thing. Ricky, Blanca and myself were pissed about the watermarks and the fact that everything was released before the troll was done yet, by Icarus69. The group itself fell out due to internal conflict. It was shortly revived as the Cool Troll Fighting Crew, but this group also later disbanded. As for Icarus69 himself, he went on to temporarily become an admin on Quick, but after more controversy, this relationship broke off as well. He still periodically attempts to revive or kill Quick trolling, and to this day still has Chris's medallions. one of which he offered to the former ED owner Girl Vinyl on the site's 5-year history. Jiggly Army. Chris's first interaction with Blanca would occur on the 19th of August 2008. Chris would receive an email from Blanca where she shows him her OC Jiggly Army, a cross between Jigglypuff and Amy Rose. Blanca would create a DeviantArt account page that was partly dedicated to this character and gave Chris a link to the profile in an email. Chris gets a clue. In April 2010, Chris published a page on the Wikipedia with a list of many of the women he had known in his life. Blanca was conspicuously left absent from this list, but he did mention her briefly in the entry on Sarah Jackson. Of all the sweethearts he had met online, Blanca and Sydney were apparently the only ones that Chris had been able to successfully identify as trolls more or less on his own. Well, despite people having to tell him this, and it took Chris several years to get the hint or whatever. It should be noted, though, that while Chris might have figured out that Blanca was a troll, he still failed to realize she wasn't a real person. In December of 2009, Chris uploaded a correction on his ED page. In it, he wrote that he had dumped Blanca's sorry ass after that misdeed. I had trusted her. The impact. Blanca can be pointed to as the first trollsome gal pal. The persona put in place many of the memes that would serve as a template for future trolling. Coercion into leaking information, references that go over Chris's head, etc. And, well, here is the actual video of the destruction itself. It is what it is. Well, it speaks for itself. Well, basically, the only things you really need to know about that video is the fact that, despite the fact that, well, they decided to post a very descriptive way of destroying it, they also decided to go a little bit out of the way into the actual methodical process of trying to torture somebody the way they did. So, yeah, can't necessarily say there weren't some tendencies going into this. Oh, and apparently, in case you're wondering, the fact that Blanca Weiss had many different appearances over her tenure with Chris, did Chris not think that something looked a little bit strange? And, well, these were sort of like other images that you need to know. Most of these are just sort of like what you've come to expect from when it comes to Chris's infatuations. So, September 29, 2008. Dear Blanca, I am so happy that you were revealed as my true honest sweetheart to be. In the dream I had, I anxiously waited for her since the dreams of me and my future daughter, when before my heart was lost and confused. Now I truly see the path to honest true love set for me by God and Jesus, blah blah blah. It almost culminates in the idea that all Chris has to do is literally just sit and wait, and then he'll finally get laid. That's the tantamount to Chris's thoughts as far as, well, women in general, but let's pretend as if we didn't know this. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That was the story of Blanca Weiss. Relatively just, it's just more a case of how easy it was to manipulate Chris, just on the basis that he thinks that there are women out there who would be interested, despite of all of Chris's foibles. So there we are, and I cannot wait to see you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.